Thanks, Sarah and Gail, for meeting with us today. And I know that you guys are from Elkhart Community Schools. So I just thought I would ask a little bit about your comprehensive counseling program. And maybe just start off by asking if you could talk a little bit about the comprehensive counseling model that you selected for your schools as well as part of your collaborative.
I love to talk about what we did because I think it's different than many school districts because we did come together as a county collaborative. During that planning grant phase, when they sent us out to, kind of explore what we wanted, we all went to several different places. And when we came back together, it was amazing that 7 school districts in a county that range all the way from rural to urban, all said the same things, that they had a vision for a comprehensive counseling program, that the ASCA model truly fit what the standards were for counseling. And then we all kind of embraced Trish Hatch and her use of data model for training and implementing all of those ASCA standards. And as a district, we had never done 5-star, we had never done Gold Star, we'd never done any of those in any of our buildings. We had one building that had done a lot and was actually working on RAMP already when we started. So as a collaborative, we came together and helped each other through that process of starting with a foundation and learning what it meant and then how we could do it K through 12. And that just, and again, in our district, it looked different than anywhere else. We don't have counselors K through 6. So we were going to institute a K through 12 counseling model with no elementary counselors. And what did that look like for us, and how could we possibly do that? And yet we have. We've embraced some social workers. Our superintendent has embraced that, and we've kind of brought them on board to helping us build that comprehensive model of moving K through 12. So it's been a fun choice. It's been a fun process, a lot of work, and we still have a ways to go.
Could you talk a little bit about just getting counselor buy-in and how that might have gone, especially for high school counselors, since that's who you are one and you work with, but even maybe K-12, what that was like when you started talking about the ASCA National Model, because that's a big lift.
It is a big lift, and it was something that I think everybody kind of came to at different points. I think like anything in life, you have people that are like, okay, I'm in, I'm all in, and I'm going to move forward. And other people that are like, wait a minute. And I just need that little extra time to kind of wrap my head around it and kind of adjust to the change. It was nice because we did have that 3 years of training with Hatch. So it was able for people that were really diving in to be able to take it and run, and our people that needed that kind of time to kind of get on board, they had that through those years. I think at this point, everybody's there. We're excited. The collaboration has just been explosive in what we've been able to accomplish, because we have 2 high schools, kind of we're merging next year into one. And we were kind of working as separate entities, and through that training, we really kind of learned the power of everybody kind of on that same page, and really pushing in the same direction. And what we were able to accomplish is just, it's been amazing. So it's really transformative, and I'm very excited to see it, especially as we kind of come back to hopefully a normal school year next year, all of the things that we can do for our students.
So Gail, I'll ask you, and Sarah, you as well, but what would you say was the biggest positive with the ASCA National Model that you've seen so far? Because I'm sure there are many, but what really stands out to you?
There are 1,000 little things. And I think Sarah alluded to the fact that we're taking 2 rather large high schools and merging them. And this has given us a way to come together and align all of those processes in a way that's most effective for all. So it's not my way or your way, or we're going to do it this one, we're going to follow this school's model. We all threw everything out kind of and rebuilt the processes from ground moving forward. The focus is on students. The focus is on all students tier 1 initially, and meeting those needs and building on those and making it be a purposeful counseling office instead of that always just being reactionary and doing scheduling and testing. So I think we've empowered counselors to feel like they have a voice. We've empowered counselors to feel like they are making an impact in the culture of their buildings in a way that I don't think we really felt before.
I was really kind of thinking for about a year or two before that, I'm like, I know that there's a better way for us to work. I know that we can be more effective, we can be more efficient, we can do a better job with our kids. But, in having conversations with the counselors, we couldn't quite come up with what that piece was, what we were missing. And I think, as we've gone through the ASCA National Model training and the use of data to drive our instruction, and the ability to take that time and energy to look back at what we do and why we do it, and then look at the impact and then make adjustments. It sounds like a simple idea, but it's been really transformative in our work. And I think we're just poised to really be able to kind of capitalize on what we've been able to accomplish and really make that change and that move for our students in our building.
Yeah. And, so for so many counselors, I think the prospect of implementing the national model, they look at it and say, oh my gosh, it takes so much time, or we don't have enough time. Can you talk a little bit about how maybe you addressed that, how you solved or if not solved that issue, at least made it work for you?
Sure. I think one of the big things that we've done throughout the last year and a half, 2 years, is we've really looked at the way in which we schedule students. We've always spent a tremendous amount of time making sure that they knew what they needed to graduate, they had the right classes, that we were really putting that time in. And we did that through individual meetings, which we thought were very powerful because we were giving that individual time and attention. And what we were able to kind of develop through the training was that we can do that in a different way and increase our time. And so we have developed lessons around those same topics that can be delivered in a larger group format. We can pre and post test those, and then we can kind of empower the students to select classes then on their own with our help and guidance, kind of in a more of a group setting. It's allowed us to take that block of time and really then refocus that on students in needs, really looking at social, emotional, and other areas in which we can really start to work with students in a different way, and use that time to kind of create that space to do what ASCA is really looking at us to do.
Great, yeah. And actually that leads me to my next question. And Gail, I'll ask you if you could talk a little bit about the collaborative and kind of how it came to be and how it operates and any positives or challenges that you've had with it.
Yeah, I think the collaborative for us, while doing the comprehensive model is the most far-reaching for our students, the collaborative has been, to me, the biggest benefit for the counselor. I think back about 7 districts, and in Indiana, we are competitive for pupil enrollment. So when they initially started talking about coming together, we kind of went, we don't need them. We don't want to lose our students. We don't want to share our ideas because we need to maintain our student count. But yet, and we went to all these trainings. Sarah and I went to a Hatch training, and that use of data and how to do it and how to structure your counseling office and empower them. And we were like, wow. And we were sitting with county leaders from our district, from our county. And they were all saying the same things, and we're like, oh, wow, maybe this could be really impactful. The really, truly unique thing, I think, about the collaborative's initiation was that it was our leadership. It was the superintendents that got together and said, this could impact us all. We want you to look at it. I don't know of many districts where the superintendents are that supportive. And with that support, that fed down to our administrators and then the counselor buy-in. So the collaborative started at top. The second most powerful thing that happened is we then brought together every single counselor in the county for one huge meeting where we brainstormed, what are the biggest needs you think we have in our county? What things do you think we need to focus on? And we took and did that brainstorming session, and then, combining and coming up with what were the 3 goals. And the 3 goals we all agreed on, but the counselors, for the first time, I think in a very long time, felt that they had a voice that was being listened to impact their school districts and the county. And that was exciting. That was just I think we all went away and went, oh, we got to keep doing this. This is so amazing. Little did we know we'd spend the next 3 years with every single one of those counselors in training together, learning things, growing together.
Sure, yeah. Well, and I think having all of that buy-in from the get-go is huge. But I know when you work with such a large, wide group of people, sometimes there are challenges.
Yes.
Not everyone's in the same place or maybe moving at the same rate. So what advice would you give maybe to other school districts or counties that are looking to do some kind of collaborative work like this when you do have those challenges and maybe you need to pull some people along a little faster than they're ready to go?
Yeah, we've talked a lot about this because we've been asked that question. It's a really good question. The biggest thing and the strength in our collaborative is the superintendent buy-in. Now, I'm going to back it up even further and say that we have community partners that help us with that. Prior to the grant even coming into existence for us, we have a county agency, Horizon Education Alliance, that supports education in Elkhart County, and they had every superintendent meeting together with the focus of education from infancy through adulthood. So they had that base of working together towards a common goal. That was huge. Secondly, Sel from out of UIndy also joined us and gave us a structural support. And you almost need that third party coming in and helping you to build that structure of accountability. I think that also was huge because it made it so every district had an equal voice. Just because my district was bigger didn't mean I had a louder voice. Even the smallest district has the same voice in that structure as anyone else does. And I think that helped us. They also brought a level of accountability to all of us, because we have to come together and report back what we've done, the work we've accomplished, how the training's being carried out. Are we doing what we said we were going to do? And we're being held accountable in that collaborative in a way that is amazing because it's a third party asking. It's not us asking just each other. So those are some of the, I think, foundational things for the collaborative that were really, really important.
Any words of advice or words of wisdom that either of you have for other schools, especially for those that don't have grant funding, that are looking to maybe make their programs more comprehensive, or maybe looking to collaborate, even just maybe with 1 or 2 local community partners? Any advice you would give?
Sure. I guess my advice is that to start small. We've all talked about, the ASCA model is enormous. There's a lot to it. And to not kind of get overwhelmed in the enormity of the things that you can do, but to pick that one goal, that one area of improvement that you want to make during that school year and really work to make that great. And then the next year, add a piece to that. And it's okay if that time takes you 3 years or 4 years in which to really get fully up to where you want to be, but it's a process, and that's okay. And that, it's taken us 3 years with training and support, and just know that it doesn't happen overnight, and you'll get there, and it's going to be good. So that would be my advice.
Great. Gail, do you have any?
Yeah, I think the advice we would give is to get the buy-in from your administrators. True change can't happen without administrative support, and it is through not only your building, but your superintendent. If you can have them understand and support the work you do as a counselor, and part of that involves work on your part, and I think Sarah and I had talked about this prior to coming on, it's learning to communicate what you do and why you do it and why it's important to people so they understand what your impact is. That's how you get that buy-in. So I think we've had to reevaluate, and one of the things that the training has helped us learn to do are those, what are they called, Sarah, the presentations?
The flashlight?
The flashlight,
yes.
Thank you. I knew it was something.
Flashlight.
Doing those flashlight presentations that are very succinct. They don't take, because administrators don't always have a lot of time, but they are powerful in the message they give, and they show truly what the work is you're doing and the impact it has on their building. So I think that it's that administrative piece that has really helped us move more quickly. We now have an onboarding every fall for any new administrator or counselor that comes on board so that they can get up to speed with what we're working on as a collaborative and why it's important. And that's part of that sustainability piece. The structure is still in place. Our guiding team will continue to meet beyond the grant. Our steering team will continue to meet. Our work teams of counselors are in place in such a way that we're held accountable, that even when it's not about, we have to spend the money and stay on, we still have a purpose and a goal in mind and a support in place to keep it moving.
Yeah.
It's going to be, I know, I get excited every time.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Gail and Sarah, thank you so much for being with us and sharing the story and all the work that Elkhart is doing.